a lot of times we look at marriage as bringing people happiness, but happy people tend to get married. It's a byproduct of being a happy person because that's a skill. So if you're an unhappy person, you just become an unhappy married person. If you're an unhappy person, you're just an unhappy person with a kid. So basically, Lauren Southern recently put out a book. And I didn't read it because I just have better things to do. But I will... Do you know what? If you guys pay me enough, I might do it. But I just think we all got better things to do with our time. But I will cook her today. So I want to show you what happens is the sisterhood's always real. So even women that say they're conservative. So this is Alex Clark. And she's assisting Lauren Southern and accusing all of the right of rape when she was really just being a whore. So, yeah.
I think the majority of women in the Tradwife space are having massive problems in their relationship that they will never talk about publicly.
Are we talking about online influencers in the Tradwife space?
Yes.
Conservative space?
Yes.
Some have speculated that your ex was a Romeo spy. Is there any possibility that that could be true?
Ooh, I don't like crying on the internet, but my son's going to grow up and he's going to watch this, and I want him to know that I loved his dad very much. I think the one reason I don't remain tortured by this relationship is because I gave it everything. Within 1,000 times of him saying, I'm going to divorce you, 1,000 times I said, I'm not giving up on you.
And the worst part is it's funded by men. So Turning Point USA. That's the thing. Men, they often get what they deserve because it's like, they go to the ends of the earth to destroy men.
Ideal image of marriage and family lacks the nuance and complexity of real life. That is the story of what happened to her. A Tradwife fairy tale turned into a nightmare. This interview is a beautiful multi-camera shot episode on the Real Alex Clark YouTube channel that is made possible through generous donations from listeners like you who support our mission to heal a sick culture physically, mentally, and spiritually with this content. You can find a link in the description to make a tax-deductible donation, or if it's not a good time, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify at no cost to you. Today, you'll hear from Lauren Southern, a Canadian journalist, documentary filmmaker, YouTube firebrand, author, mother, and survivor. This is Culture Apothecary with Alex Clark. Lauren Southern, you've had one of the most compelling careers in the conservative media space, but are the rumors true that you're a feminist now?
If I call myself that, I will.
And now it's crashed. Now your career's over. Alex, I can't tell if this girl's just stupid.
Have you been through a nasty breakup, a false accusation, or divorce court hell? Our private university isn't just about self-improvement. It's about protecting yourself as a man. We brought on legal child support officers, legal experts to teach you how to defend yourself before it happens. Reduce your risk, arm yourself with knowledge. Go to pearlinvite.com, watch the short video, and apply because nobody is coming to save you, but we can show you how to save yourself.
Or what?
Have accusations made against me that do not apply and expectations I cannot fulfill. So I'm going to avoid that one like the plague. I plead the fifth.
Well, talk a little bit about the environment that you grew up in, the belief system that you grew up in your family, and how you ended up being, I would say that you are one of the first major content creators in the conservative independent media space.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Canada, so that's a pretty radicalizing experience. I'd say we're about 10 to 15 years ahead on the kind of left-wing progressive ideology compared to America. And growing up in Vancouver in particular, where we have mass immigration to the point where I don't even think the local population are the majority anymore. It's mostly immigrants right now. Made my lived experience one in which I had to embrace right-wing ideas. I was watching my culture entirely change before me. And by the time I was in grade 12, we had progressive classes being introduced, literally social progress 12 or something, where we were learning about white privilege, male privilege, this kind of stuff. And
let's get to the facing accusations, maybe. Let's skip that.
But there were also a lot about...
I don't care about your early life, Lauren. I don't care why you're a whore. I don't. I just care that you're doing it.
There are things going on in the background that I didn't talk about publicly because it was so complicated. After I did my big documentary, Farmlands and Borderless, I was being massively attacked by large global media corporations, but also intelligence agencies.
What were they saying about you? They were saying Lauren Southern is what?
White nationalist was a big accusation of a country, so people can have families.
Your career is done, Lauren, done.
That they can raise with freedom of religion. You know, I want to have that family one day. I want to have kids. I want to be, you know, what I'm fighting for.
Mm-hmm.
And if I keep this going, like I am going to end up behind bars for sure. I just narrowly escaped going to jail in Turkey. Narrowly. And when I got married, my husband was an Australian and he was also working for a federal government capacity. And the Australian government told me I wasn't going to be allowed to come to the country, visit family, nothing unless I quit politics. It was literally in their stipulation letter to me. You are banned from the country. You're put on VACU, which is a list for terrorists, criminals, everything. We will only take you off that list and allow you in if you quit politics.
Was it a no-brainer for you? Like, done, like I quit? Or was it something that you really thought through and were kind of struggling with?
Obviously, it's something I would have preferred not been the case, but it was a no-brainer. Like when I told people, you know, family is my goal, having kids, when I decided, you know, before we get into all of this, I want to clarify, I'm not the ideal Tradwife. I had a career. I had boyfriends before my husband. I had like, you know.
She was a whore. Yeah. You banged Destiny.
Everything, nothing about my life is normal, right? But when I got married, I was like, this is my primary goal in life, to be a mother, a wife, and have kids, and everything else comes secondary. So letting go of my career was absolutely a no-brainer, but I would have preferred to have it and been able to speak publicly and not have a government be oppressive to me because of my ideology, for sure.
Were you feeling any type of internal pressure, like this is the kind of content I talk about and I need to make sure I'm living it out?
People can pretend when they are content creators that they don't feel pressure from their audience, that they don't feel pressure from the comments section. I remember when I was 21 years old, I published a video saying why I'm not married because I was getting so much incessant pressure from my audience saying, you should have kids now. You're basically valueless as a woman. You're out here traveling and being a career. And I had to go out there and be like, you shouldn't rush into marriage. You should find someone.
She should just stay put, make children, and then go back to politics and then stop going to Turkey or whatever foreign countries. Yeah, but she crashed out. She did a tell all about her exes. Yeah, dangerous woman.
That's good for you. And like, make sure the test of time goes through. You should, some people aren't going to get married and that's okay. And I really tried to clarify that to my audience, but I felt like I was almost trying to clarify that to myself.
Yeah, because this is what it is. Again, feminism is a strategy for women to spend their youth on themselves. And when women do that, it makes, especially non-sexually active men upset. And the reason is because the men sexually active, it benefits them, right? So again, betas benefit the most from marriage, and that's why they push it. Alphas are getting sex. I hate using those terms. They're placeholders, but you guys get the idea.
Because I was feeling the pressure of this ideology. And growing up, you don't really know things until you live them. You don't. That's just how it works. You know, what's that Ann Coulter quote? A liberal is just a conservative who hasn't been mugged yet, I believe was the quote. So it's like, you don't understand.
Well, if that's the case, then we should have a lot of people turning red in California this year.
Mass muggings, yeah. So especially in the zeitgeist, like I grew up throughout the whole creation of the internet. You know, I was born in 95 and I started on like Neopets as a young girl, the forums, Tumblr when it came out,
oh, yeah,
MSN Messenger. Oh, you did Tumblr too?
And I had MSN Messenger and AIM, both.
Yeah. So all of these like more rudimentary beginnings of the internet. And then by the time I was a teenager, like people started making YouTube content. You start watching that. And unfortunately, what was lost in that transition was you used to be able to get all of your information about relationships and love and what to do from real people around you, where you could really see the fruits of what they were talking about. So if someone was giving you advice on how to structure your relationship, well, you could see if they had successful relationships in their life, they were in your community. Whereas the information we're getting today is from a lot of people who are creating exciting advice, things that make you feel very confident about the approach you're taking. If you do this, if you follow this listicle, then you are going to be.
Well, and the other issue is advice that worked for boomers doesn't work for Gen Z or millennials. The boomer dad used to just be able to go out. There's a hot woman, thin, ready. I mean, Gen Z guys got to figure out how to put their wife on a nutrition plan because they're all fat. So, and then also, how to like not get herpes. Like they have no idea. They have no idea.
Be happy and healthy. And if you don't do this, you're going to be a miserable wench. But you can't see any of the.
But so the other issue is a lot of times we look at marriage as bringing people happiness, but happy people tend to get married. It's a byproduct of being a happy person because that's a skill. So if you're an unhappy person, you just become an unhappy married person. If you're an unhappy person, you're just an unhappy person with a kid. They don't make you like, it's almost selfish to put your happiness on somebody else.
Real struggles they're having because
everything looks good. They think she's hot. She's got herpes, guys. Allegedly. Allegedly she got it from Tate. So she could be hot, but that HPV and herpes is coming for you. It's like you guys learn nothing from our Friday STD shows.
Everything is sanitized.
What was the path to follow that you thought, if I do this, this, and this will lead to a successful marriage and happy relationship?
It was the whole Tradwife stuff was beginning to become very popular on the internet. When I was at the dynamo of my career, you have to, not have your job. You have to quit your job, make that secondary, be the stay-at-home wife, be more submissive, follow your husband wherever he goes. Got to be attractive,
got to be young.
You want to get married young for sure, because if you get married past 25, then you've hit the wall and you're, basically used goods, whatever. There were all of the.
I don't know how she could argue that she's not used goods as a single mother that has the reputation she has. Do you know what I mean?
These advice pieces that I thought I had won.
I was way cuter at 22. I was fatter, but I was way cuter. Like, I wasn't this black pilled. I probably was more pleasant. It just is what it is.
Lottery. I found a very masculine guy.
Someone said herpes. I'm going to die soon anyway, so fuck it. Well.
With a masculine career, and I did absolutely love my husband.
One of the worst things.
Okay, yeah.
Tell us how you met him and what your first impression was.
The first time I met him was actually, we weren't dating or anything then, but it was when I was touring Australia, and he was introduced to me as like a government dignitary. So it was
very impressive,
very important person. We shook hands, took a picture, and then I had to go and do my speeches. And then I didn't meet him again for a while, and we weren't even dating then either, but he actually, in a way, kind of saved me from jail in Turkey. I can't get into the details too much because it is like really weird government stuff that was going.
Yeah, and this is, someone just submitted this. Why are they promoting a whore and a drug addict, allegedly? This is the reputation she has. I mean, guys, I've been on the internet forever. The only thing they got on me is an ex-boyfriend I had publicly. It was and look, I'm not perfect. If something ever comes out, I'll just say, just is what it is. But I can tell you what won't come out. Drugs, whoredom, sleeping with destiny. Yeah, that will not come out. No. I do not. I would never risk AIDS. Anyone that sleeps with a bi guy is just stupid.
Going on, but he wasn't supposed to come and get me if I got arrested. He wasn't supposed to, because he might sacrifice his security clearance. He might, get in trouble himself with his government jobs. And I remember after being arrested by the military, they handed us over to the gendarme, And my security that was with me at that time looked at me and he's like, we're screwed if we get handed over to the gendarme because they can charge us. The military couldn't charge us, but these people can. They bring us in, at gunpoint in these cars to this little rickety old station with the light swinging in the ceiling, a painting of Ataturk. And I remember walking in there thinking, wow, I'm probably going to jail for the rest of my 20s. And then seeing he wasn't my husband at the time, but my husband waiting there after he was supposed to cut and run and leave me, and thinking, oh my goodness, what an incredible man.
Mm-hmm. And how soon were you married and pregnant?
We moved very quick.
And how did she reward him? A freaking hit piece.
It was like, we had known each other for I guess I'd met him 8 months beforehand, but we only dated for 5 months.
What did your ex tell you that he was looking for in an ideal relationship?
So this is something I think about a lot also, because I spend a lot of time online talking about what I wanted. So if you wanted to date me, you could go look up exactly the things I would want to hear. You could go look at my Twitter timeline, my YouTube, and he told me.
Oh my gosh, guys, this is a problem. And I'm just going to say this firsthand. I never wanted to date somebody that knew my stuff. It's just too much. It's like, okay, and I've heard other YouTubers talk about this. It's not a fair fight when you know everything about me and I know nothing about you. It makes me so uncomfortable. It does. I'm like, all, because streaming in a way, it's like a private, it's like, I know it's public, but sometimes it feels private. I don't like when it's brought up, I never liked to date somebody that knew my stuff. And there were even times where someone would tell me they watched and I'm like, I gotta balance. I'm not doing that. I didn't care if they were they'd seen my shorts, but if I'm yeah, I know this is yeah. Now they're saying in the chat, I don't know your stuff. Oh my God, it's too, you just can't. Salute, Pearl, expose these fake trap 304s. Thank you.
Everything I wanted to hear. I want to have a fan.
The most public private job ever. I know. It's something you never think about.
Family, I want to stay at home.
But I don't think he manipulated her the way she's going to paint this. I'd like to clarify. It's almost okay, because when you meet someone, it's you share a little, they share a little, and then all of a sudden they have everything, I think, so.